Oh, my world. Okay. Oh, Tyler's not here, and so good.
You have to call the names.
Okay.
Okay.
Might be a little slower as I write and call.
Write them at the top of your paper and just look at
There
it.
you go.
That's what I do.
I turn my paper a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's 4 o'clock, I'll call us to order for the special city council meeting.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This work gets verification of council with the negative caucus, so appreciate everybody being able to be here. And everyone's present, Dean's gonna be online, and we're gonna have a presentation, kick us off, with Courtney, who's here from the Wabasha Chamber CBD. Welcome, Courtney.
And just introduction, as part of our code, it requires that Courtney makes an annual presentation of financials to the city council, so that's why it's here. We've had them in prior years as part of the $15,000 that's been transferred to the court, and now he is here to present as part of that obligation. So thank you, Courtney, for coming and rescheduling as well.
Yep. The front page in front of you is basically the P&L for the CDB. Second page is all of the deposits, and third and fourth is individual transactions that came on the CDB for 2025.
Courtney, could you explain a little bit about the difference between the CBD and how the lodging tax works that we're collecting and sending versus the rest of the chamber?
Yeah, so all of the tax that comes in for the CDB, that is dedicated for funding the CDB. And so what we do is 50%, well, not even 50, for the CDB contract, the 35,892, that basically covers a small portion of the payroll, and then 50% of the overhead for the office. So that breaks down in between the chamber and the CDB. And then everything else is email marketing, regular marketing, professional fees, software and website maintenance.
Great. And as we've been able to collect additional lodging tax due to kind of shoring up that process, where are you kind of able to increase funds from prior years?
So a lot of the stuff in the last 2 years, most of the additional income that we've got coming in, we put that towards the off-season Wabasha, that October through March timeframe. That's where I like to spend a lot of that money advertising wise is during that slow time of the year.
Okay. Is that where we're seeing the website maintenance or the email marketing?
Website maintenance, that's year round.
Okay.
Email marketing is year round. Some of the additional CBB marketing, that stuff is for the off season.
Okay.
So you don't consider any of the membership fees part of the income for the CBD?
Nope, that all goes into the chamber side.
I know, like, we've gotten at City Hall, just as we've asked for people to pay the lodging tax, a little bit of understanding, because the city collects it, people think, you know, we're keeping it, but 95% is going to reinvest back into the marketing of the community when all the Airbnbs and hotels and bed and breakfasts pay this amount, it gets invested back into marketing the city, so.
Yep. One thing I would recommend is probably updating that ordinance the city ordinance at some point.
Yep, I've got that, if you can hang around, I've got just a kickoff on that discussion, and then if you have any other things that I missed, maybe we'll have you come up and make
Yep.
other suggestions, so. Cause right now, the ordinance, we'll go over it, but, it also says that they're to make quarterly reports. I think what we'll do with that is Tyler sits on the board and gets a monthly report. So if council members have questions, you could just request that and we can provide it. Otherwise, we'll just plan on this annual presentation. And the other thing we need to take a look at is just the board thing, does it match practice right now? So.
So, hi. So the 35,892 CVB chamber contract, that's basically labor, you're transferring dollars for labor.
It's 50% of the overhead for the chamber office, and then a small chunk of that goes into labor as well.
So how, have you posted hours through the office yet? Are you gonna do
Hours?
like public office hours or for open?
We're,
Because if we're paying for part of it,
the board is still trying to figure all that stuff out.
when are we gonna know?
I'm not sure, we're still working on it at this point.
It just seems to me we should have posted hours on the, you know, I mean, people should be able to know when to get in there, get the information, stuff like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, can we see that soon, within this quarter, before summer season?
Yeah, we'll talk about it again at our
I mean,
next.
doesn't that seem important to everybody?
Has,
Right.
has the board explored a non-staffed open door? I'm thinking Big Bayport as an example with, I mean, they maybe have staff there as well, but when I popped in, it's very full of materials, and it's very well organized, and it's very clear about getting information. Nobody happens to be there. I can't remember if they have a restroom or not, I don't think that they do, because I think there's another one close by, but I thought, well, that's a low labor, high impact,
Yep.
option for.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, right now, we're looking at the security aspect of that, because Robin's side of the building also connects to that office. So we're looking at, how can we do that, but make sure that it's secure at the same time. So we're looking at a bunch of different options and stuff for that.
I know, Vinci building was, and it was a real, it was a wish, it didn't end up being possible, but when they looked at the building next to, speed limits, that's now gone, there was a study by the city to evaluate whether that could be essentially that, an open door, that could be easily kind of patrolled, but not staffed.
Yep.
Lights on, that was, the desire was there for a public restroom and sort of information area, that didn't pan out, but that,
Yep.
that's sort of what the study arrived at as a possible conclusion.
So I'm confused. This is a profit and loss statement for the Chamber of Commerce and CVB, or just the CVB?
Just to see.
Why isn't the chamber on this?
Is that, well, that was what I requested, we could do that for the chamber, but the code was specific, because the city's collecting lodging tax. He's required to provide the CVB profit and loss and expenses side of things, because we're collecting lodging tax and sending it. The Port Authority actually looked at all of the chamber financials when they went to the port for the 15,000. So, I mean, I'm sure you would have been willing to provide that, I honestly
Yeah.
didn't ask for that, so.
You're just
We're
reading
trying
what's
to-
on the top of this, is that?
Yeah,
it-
Well,
We're just trying to be in compliance with our.
the update is the chamber and CVB presentation, so I was just kind of.
Got it.
Yeah, I was
I
under
was a
the
little
impression
confused.
of just CVB
I
stuff.
just said CBB, yep, did you have any kind of general?
Well, no, my only gripe is that we should probably have a profit and loss for both of them there, or
Okay,
if that's probably what our conversation is later, to combine the two.
yeah.
Which I'm fine with, but,
Mhm.
because it doesn't really give you a clear picture of what's going on.
Okay. Well, I think what I have for today is just a kickoff, because I need to do work noticing things in the paper. So if we're gonna discuss it further at the next meeting, we could have, Courtney present the CVB financials as well.
Chamber.
your
Chamber.
chamber.
Yeah.
Chamber.
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
I think, did we talk about a trifold at the Port Authority? Like,
Yeah.
so
it's-
where are you at with getting that done?
I should have the exact print right now.
And that will be available, you can bring some up here to the city hall and
Yep.
library and everywhere else, wherever else you take it.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything further for Courtney? Dean, anything for you?
No,
Okay.
But Courtney, I'm gonna hold you on the hours, you gotta be open for the public, so we
Yep.
figure that out.
That's fine.
All right, any public comments? If you've never done, is there anything online you should be watching?
There's a lot of public online.
So for the public online, if you've never made public comment, I'll defer to people here in person quickly first, and then if you'd like to make a comment to council, just just unmute yourself. That far lower left of your screen has a little microphone icon. Make sure that's not Xed out, and then just go ahead and share about 2 minutes or less with council, just so that everybody gets a chance. Anyone here in the chamber wish to make any public comment? Okay, anyone online, please feel free to just voice up if you'd like to share, just tell us who you are and where you live, and we'd be happy to hear from you. Maybe just listening today.
Okay, can everybody online hear us okay?
Yeah, if somebody who's online could.
I can.
Oh, that wasn't working maybe. Okay, could you not hear Courtney or was it council?
I could hear it just fine.
Oh, okay, all right.
Make comments. All right, that's just fine.
Sorry, so no public comments from online?
Okay, that's fine. And then any changes or additions to the agenda from staff or members of council? Okay, hearing none, I'm not gonna present, we've got planning commission items, I don't want to bump up against them. Thanks again for everybody making this reschedule work. Committee reports, utilities.
We met last Monday, but there was nothing really to note to report.
Or 30.
We met, Tuesday, January 20. Lengthy consent agenda, spent a lot of money. A lot of it was in relationship to the Highway 60 reroute. We said thank you and goodbye to Kathy Anderson. She was initially a CETA rep for economic development specialist and then became an independent operator. We have in the audience our new CETA rep,
Does
Chris
anybody not
Gassner.
know Chris?
Everybody wave, everybody knows Chris, I
I
think.
think we all know Chris. We're
He's
happy to have
prepared
him.
to
Thank
also
you.
introduce himself.
That'd be great for the public, that'd be
Yes.
great, when you're done.
Yeah, I think in your report, you're gonna talk a little bit maybe about, Caroline, you're gonna talk a little bit about Bolton and Mink, we did vote and approve to go out for bid on the barge terminal. So we're there, and I saw we got an email today from DNR that, our permitting processes, we're there, we're ready to go. So that's big news, so thank you for that. I think that's about it. Did I miss anything? No.
Chris, come on up, even though we all know you. But it's good for your voice and face to become familiar to everybody who's not here.
Well, thank you for giving me a minute just to introduce myself. Like John said, my name is Chris Gassner. I am the new economic development specialist. I think you mentioned I'm the new CETA rep. I'm not with CETA anymore. Yeah, I have my own independent consulting firm, but I was with CETA for almost 20 years. Worked with Kathy for a long time and am a pretty much lifelong resident of Lake City. So I have admired the things that have gone on here in Wabasha, and I look forward to being part of continuing that momentum forward. So thanks again for a few minutes.
We're excited to have you. 20, streets or parks or both.
Good evening, everyone. Parks did not meet. I think we kind of know that the budget was cut down a little bit, so we're not
gonna meet a lot for parks, but I think next month we might have to for a few things. Street commission met. We're still discussing street light temperature for different areas around town. We're trying to get some sort of a policy set in place, so if we're gonna replace lights on Lawrence Boulevard or different spots, we know exactly what color we wanna use and brightness. I briefed the board on or the commission on the Freightliner truck, 2026 plow truck replacement, that's gonna be 20 years old. I just only had the price of the truck, at that time, and the chassis is 139,000. And we're still waiting on the plow equipment, that's another package that comes, from another company for that. And I'm hoping to have that done for next street commission and city council next month. So we talked about Matt Wappy's replacement hiring process. Obviously, we don't want to see Matt leave, but we know he's looking, so we kind of want to be prepared to jump on that as soon as we can, so we're not, without, personnel. We went through commissioner expectations, I think everybody's been through that, city council and all the boards and commissions, basically outlines kind of some rules and regulations about how to run the board or commission. We discussed the Anchor Point Church development primary plat and plans, and I think that's moved on to planning commission. And that was it. Ambulance sold like half hour ago for 23,200, so that was good news.
Was it 23 or?
I had the wrong one.
I got no excited.
It's better than 12, right?
It's better.
I was talking to her on the phone when I sold, so
Yeah,
give me the wrong number.
I was looking at 2021, the first dead one we sold, so, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. And finance.
No January meeting.
Meeting's it.
Yeah.
All right, and Carol, our administrator's report.
Yep, just wanted to highlight that, all the department heads indulged me in an exercise called our 2026 goals. They are linked online on the website under budget. And I just asked, everyone to kind of come up with a couple things that they wanted to accomplish for the year. So for example, a lot of departments have training goals for their staff. Ryan's always watching his ambulance transfers. City Hall, we identified just some cleaning and organizing that's helping us do our job more efficiently. Fire department had some training goals and standardization of equipment, so it was really good. We're gonna publish it, do another check-in. It's not intended to be our big strategic goals, but just kind of things to continue to make sure that we're operating smoothly. So again, it's linked, it's online, under budget, if in an interest of transparency. So it was good, and of course, you know, our big ones of joint goals will for sure hopefully be starting on the barge terminal project and environmental clearance for the Highway 60. And then we'll talk about the Highway 60 project later in the meeting. But I have submitted revised legislation on that, and then bids, as John will mention, will go out in March for the barge terminal. And me and Emily and Brian were all at the annual fire department Christmas event, and it's always just kind of nice to meet all of our volunteers and thank them for all their work. So thanks for a great event.
Speaking of fire, Darren, we literally just ended committee reports when you were walking the door. Do you have anything you want to share? I know you've had a busy day.
No, not really.
Okay, sounds good. Just wanted to give you the chance.
Thank you.
All right, and our consent agenda includes approval of the assignment of Fitzgerald development agreement from Bill Fitzgerald to his nephew Jason, approval of the January 6th regular council minutes, the Port Authority member appointment of Texas Stackhouse, it's gonna be great, 2026-27 fire contracts, the resolution 04-2026 accepting ambulance funding, the public works tech replacement hire process that Tony alluded to, even though we really don't want to lose that, but wish him the best. The 2026 brush dump contract, approval of the purchase of the radios and pagers, gambling applications for St. Elizabeth's Chamber, and one more, Falcon Youth Baseball, I think. The February warrants and the 2026 downtown apartment construction safety, site safety nets. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, my good.
We have a motion from Jennifer, we have a second from Tim. Any further discussion? We have to take a roll.
Freeman,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yeah.
Clark,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moyer,
Yes,
Duran.
Yes, thanks, Jess. All right, under our general business, we have the short-term rental ordinance second read. Anything further on this? We had a good presentation by staff.
Christie's on the line, I think. Christie, do you want to, I guess, briefly summarize this and highlight any changes?
I can if I want. Does planning commission or city council have any questions of me before I re-summarize again?
I'm seeing heads shaking no. I think we really appreciated the presentation the last meeting.
Okay, yeah. Essentially, we're just updating the short-term rental policy, desperately trying to sort of finalize and get things put in paper format each year as folks from the short-term rental community come forward with information for us. We're hoping that this also doesn't, trip a whole lot of extra time from staff. So we crafted an ordinance that tries to understand all of those modifications. I have for you guys a short ordinance summary that we kind of went through in depth last time. We are requesting some distance modifications. So in the R1 zone, folks, these short-term rentals can't be any closer than 350 feet from another short-term rental. That's mostly in the R1 zones. We highlighted a project there. It's Skyline Drive was the one that most of our short-term rentals are right now. Then we've got the R2 zone, which encompasses a lot of the properties downtown. We're requesting that they stay 200 feet away, and you can see a small map there. We've got our licensing materials, which we went through, the fee structure, and then just the licensing standards kind of on that last page. We're requesting total numbers of bedrooms. Any and all signage used would have to be follow city code. Parking, we're asking for one parking stall per bedroom. Getting that the main or principal occupant has to be over 18 years of age. Requesting that no additional on-site occupancy can happen. Largely, we can't have like RVs or tents being used here, and then that we record a rental registry for the city. With that, I've got all the other comments and concerns raised for this from the public hearing, and then the ordinance itself behind that. Do you guys have any questions of me?
I'm not hearing any, Christie.
Okay.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. First from John, second from Tim. Any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote by roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Walner,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yeah.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yeah. Yes.
Moyer. Moyer.
sorry, I was, yes,
Okay.
Duran.
Yes. Thank you, Christie. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, so now, discussion on the possible amendment to the city code for the CBB. This is what Caroline was alluding to, so.
Yep. It's just, so the current code says that all CDB members are appointed by council, and then has 5 categories, including 1 person from City Hall. And to match current practice, the city would need to amend the code to say the CDB shall be appointed by the CDB board. Is that correct? Or what, the chamber CDB board, or the?
I think it was the chamber board, because the CVB and chamber grew together in 2012, from what I can find on meeting minutes
So
and
there's
stuff.
one
like
board.
that, for one board, yeah.
So it would have to say the CDB shall be appointed by the chamber, and we do retain 1 city hall appointment at this time, and I don't know that Tyler was technically ever appointed by the council, but I think he was appointed by someone at the city. So discussion, is everybody comfortable with that? And I've not researched as to how this works in other places. I think Courtney just helped me understand that back when they were their own board, it really wasn't working for the CVB to be alone and operating. They couldn't find enough people. Has the chamber always operated the CVB?
I don't quite know exactly how it worked, because it was, 2010, I think, when the CVB board was actually operating on its own, and then 2012 is when it got rolled into the chamber. Well, reading back through all the meeting minutes and the task force that was put together for it and all that kind of stuff, it sounded like they couldn't get enough people to volunteer for that board, and then that's when it came all together into one.
Well, especially if they were trying to satisfy these specific categories, because you don't utilize those categories for your chamber board composition, do you?
I tried
Oh,
to,
you do, okay.
yeah,
I can imagine how that would be, and that's restricted.
yeah, it is, it's really tough.
So why don't we simplify it? It's already combined. Why don't we just have one board that oversees both?
That's what we're doing.
But it
Yeah.
isn't, it's, the chamber is gonna recommend the CBB board, right?
No.
That's what Karen was just checking.
Well, this is why I don't understand
So
that.
you're saying that Courtney, it should read,
CBB shall be appointed by the chamber.
Chamber.
So now we're having two separate boards, even though the group is.
It's
one
really
and the
that
same.
your board is appointed by your board is appointed by your board.
I
But that
think
is-
where I'm a
Yeah.
bit confused is that,
So is the chamber and CBB combined today
Yes.
as one entity?
Yeah.
Why don't
Well,
we just have
no,
one?
it's on paper, it's two entities by law, because that's why you've got
Okay, that's-
separate financials.
only a CVB is eligible to get
Lodging.
lodging tax dollars. You can,
Okay,
yeah.
so do we
I
need a
wonder-
separate board for each then, because of that,
I
or
think
not?
you do,
Or we just appoint the same board?
which you could do, close one meeting, open another, but I do think you officially probably have to have a governing board for CDB.
And I think that's what the chamber board's been doing since 2012.
Kind of like adjourning one and opening another.
Yeah, kind
I
of
mean,
all
I know
wraps
some.
together, but
Whatever.
yeah. But yeah, so it's weird because by law, CVB has to be on its own, so that's why there's a separate bank account and why everything is individual on P&Ls and stuff like that. And then looking back at all of the information that I've got, when they went and combined, it's because of volunteers on the CVB side of stuff for that board. And then I think that's when that board came together and
I don't,
folded into one.
I don't foresee this happening, but I do understand that if there's dissatisfaction, theoretically, another group could say, we wanna form a CVB and we want your lodging tax dollars or something like that, so, I don't know, it's.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do with it.
I think the CVB should still be appointed by the city council, considering all the money that we give them. We need to have oversight somehow.
Or do we just, Jeff, do we do just an approval?
Well, like I said, approval by the city council.
Yeah.
That's why I think we still need that, we gotta have some oversight, and that would give us a little bit of that.
So that's essentially all of our commissions work. I mean, the commission
Yep.
typically self-recruits its members and then that officially comes for appointment to the full council.
Yep,
So we really don't care who's on the chamber board, but we should care who's on the CVB board, or at least have that approved through council, or, right?
Yeah, because we're the pass-through for the tax.
Does that make sense? I think so.
Yeah.
So Courtney, would it work if moving forward, when you appoint CVB board members, you just bring them, add an extra step and just bring their names forward? You'd still have your nominating committee, but then,
well, it kind of depends on how we go with it, because if we bring in specific CVB members, then, I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Well, it would be treated similar to planning commission and the board of appeals. You know, I mean, you got two separate things, we close one, open another, or they meet individual, or if work is required. So I mean, why would you treat it very one and the same until you need them separate?
So do you guys want a separate board for the CBB? Or how
I
do you
think it's
guys want
fine if
that
it's
to
the
work?
same people, as long as they understand I'm making decisions as a chamber board member, and I'm making decisions as a CBB board member. Because the chamber's not accountable to lodging tax, but the CBB is.
Yep.
So I think it's good for, and we have to do that too, kind of like I'm putting on my this hat now. That makes sense. And we,
Your board of appeal,
The board of adjustment, so it's a
Board of
separate,
adjustment, that's selected
it's the non-council member.
non-council members.
Is what makes up the board of adjustment, so it meets individual and before the planning sometime. Or sometimes we can adjourn and discuss it during the meeting, and Jeff and I would abstain from any vote, and then they would have it, and then they'd close that meeting, and we'd reopen ours. I mean, it'd be very similar. I mean, so.
Yeah, I just think it's another step.
Yeah.
and it's also for us to be able to know who those individuals are, so that when we're asked, who's managing these dollars, we know that it's going to the CBB, but it's better if we could say, this is that board.
So why don't you take that back? Actually, we don't need to do anything if you're okay with doing that, because then it matches what, how the code is. If there's a different proposal they wanna prepare, but I think if they're just willing to say, next time we have a vacancy, we'll come up with a name and just have them approved, then that would be matching the code, so. And
Okay.
I understand it hasn't been done since 2012.
Yeah.
And just explain to your board, it's probably because we're raising more lodging tax dollars, we're
Right.
going after people who aren't paying their lodging tax, so we're getting a lot of questions at City Hall, why do I have to pay this, where is
Yeah.
this going? What's the oversight mechanism, so,
Whereas before, the lodgers were heavily invested in the chamber CBB, so they knew
yeah,
where the money was going.
yeah. Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Courtney,
Thank you.
and
Thank you,
don't
Shane.
feel like you need to stay.
Appreciate it. Okay, turnout gear, approval of $30,000 worth of turnout gear, it's past OSHA standard, expiration dates and other requirements. Aaron, anything else you want to share with us? So this was in the CIP for this year.
Alright, guess I'm here to speak a little bit on, 30,000 for the turnout gear. So what we had going on, or what the NFPA and OSHA does is they request that our turnout gear be replaced every 10 years. Regardless of the condition or how much it's been used or whatever, so according to that, we have to replace gear and then replace 10 sets, we normally replace like 5 sets of gear on an offset year, but we got this on a grant 10 years ago, and now we have 10 sets of gear that are up at one time. So basically what we're doing is, replacing them sets of gear at $3,200 a piece, so basically up to $30,000. And then, next year we should be on swing for 5 sets of gear, we should be there from there out, but we did budget after this year into the budget for 5 sets of gear every year from here out, and, we should be set after that. So, it's kind of a tough thing, it's not one of the things I'm in favor of, because some guys don't go in and do interior tax, some just stay out and operate pumps, and some of the officers don't go in and do that either, so it's like our gear sometimes looks new after 10 years yet, and we still have to replace it, it's just the way it is, and it's all dated inside, stamped, and yeah, it's just something right now that I think they're lobbying for in this next year to try to come up with a way to inspect the gear. And I see Wisconsin now is just talking about their gear, inspecting it, filling out some forms for that, and if your gear passes that inspection, then you won't have to replace it as often. And I think that's coming here sooner or later, but until it does, we're kind of stuck underneath that policy, so.
And Darren, did you look into grants? I don't know if the one from 10 years ago is available.
Yeah, I did look at some different grants that were out there, and it's like, if you apply for the grants, you apply for the whole set. So you apply for 30 sets of gear, or 33 sets of gear, and it's possible that we got other things we could apply for that. But if I applied for that, then in 10 years, we'd be sitting here with, you know, $300,000 worth of gear, or $100,000 worth of gear versus replacing the 5 every so often, so I did look into certain ones and they replace gear, buy gear for new firefighters coming on, but that seems to be the going thing, is like if you put guys on, it's kind of like a recruitment thing. If you put them on, then we'll pay for so many sets but it doesn't kind of replace the replacement of what we have now, so. It's not something
So it's hard to find money for ongoing operation.
it is, and it's, you know, like I said, I think we got, you know, at the Chiefs conference last year, I kind of got up and talked to a few guys that were lobbying up there for us, and, that was one of the things on the table for this year that was heavy. So, but I also understand the cancer part of it too, is if we go through one bad situation, one bad fire, the chemicals are on your turnout gear, even though they wash them. We have extractors and stuff that wash the gear, it's still, they're saying it's still there, so, but.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, so, that's is it like so many exposures, they're not good anymore either?
Right, yeah, if it gets bad, like, if the gear looks bad or the gear, the smell just doesn't come out, or whatever, we do replace it at that time, if that happens, but we have, you know, a few years back, about 5 years ago or so, we got a washing machine on a grant that's, you know, $10,000, and it's made to extract the chemicals out of this Nomex stuff, and, it does do a good job, but there's some stuff don't come out.
Yeah.
And the toxic stuff is what you gotta look out for, and, you know, but.
You're referring to the thermal, it's called thermal protective performance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the gear itself has to be inspected and washed at least twice a year per maintenance. Okay, so it's
just that's one thing where it's like, I'm not one of the big pushers for me, but if you're an interior guy, your stuff looks bad and you can't get the stuff off, then yeah, I can understand replacing it, but, you know, but.
I move.
A motion from Tim.
Second.
A second from John, any further discussion? Justin calls.
Roll
Ryan?
yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yeah.
Johnson?
abstaining.
Ulrich?
Yes.
Ware?
Yes.
Duran? Yes. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Darren.
The severe warning siren project.
So Riley wasn't able to attend, but did a good job with his, summary here. We got a grant to, partially cover the cost of a new warning siren up near the Coffee Mill Golf Course that was identified in a plan that's attached from 2005. The grant covers 75% of the procurement and labor costs, and he's identified, some available funds that we have for the 25% match. And then it just includes the quote and some explanation of, why we had to sole source this, so.
Very good summary. Any questions? All there. Do a motion to approve. Okay, here's Jeff first, Brian first, Jeff second. Any further discussion? We'll vote by roll. Johnson?
Yes.
Walrick?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Greenmeyer?
Yes.
Moyer?
Yes.
Grant? Yes. All right, our next item is revised pool fees and different types of rates. Do you want to talk about this, Carolyn?
Yes, so, basically, question number 1 is the software, prior to this, sales tax is charged on, pool passes and daily pool entrances, and we would always take the charge a flat rate and take the tax out afterwards. As we're onboarding the new MyRec software, you can add taxes on after the flat rate. So we realized that, you know, a 7% tax is actually quite high, in that if we added taxes on after the flat rate to save on some calculation costs at the end of the purchase, that the fee would be higher than what was approved in January. It was also raised that you know, the pool costs are about, you know, double what we bring in revenue, and does it make sense to just keep the current higher rate and add the tax? I'll just note that because we were already increasing taxes from prior year, once you add the tax, it actually ends up being a pretty hefty 1-year increase on pass rates from what people are used to. So, and then we just thought, we understand that Tyler and you are doing sort of accounting at the end to do the tax.
Only be on credit card,
Okay,
so it would be the same with the new program.
okay. So is there a difference? We somehow identified that it would be easier if tax was separated out so people could see what was the fee and what was taxed with the new software. So we're gonna go to a system where if you're buying a pass, you just do it all online instead of at the desk, and it just streamlines things. So just a question on how much do we wanna increase rates, and continue to push to increase rates on the pool? And then the second is that the software has the ability to charge residents and non-resident rates for pool lessons and pool passes. We haven't traditionally done that. This council wished to direct staff to establish different sort of rates with final approval by Parks Commission. We just, I think, have some internal discussion quite a bit with, some discussion, is our focus affordability for the pool, or is it continuing to make up for the fact that the pool costs more to run and is aging and there's staff costs? Tony, do you wanna add anything to my summary there?
No, I think what you said was pretty good. Obviously, every year we look at revenues, what can we do to help out the budget? That's what we're kind of trying to do here. We did some with park reservations last year. You know, we're limited on, what Public Works can, you know, help with the budget. So this is one area that we got a new program that can do several additional things that couldn't be done before. I think the one thing that should be considered is non-resident versus resident. Looking at Greenfield Township, you're looking at everybody around us that takes advantage of things that we have. So that's about all I have to add.
Do you know if there's cities around us with comparable facilities to have a non-resident?
I haven't checked into this. Riley's been working on it with
I
you
looked at
guys.
it, no, I didn't find anything. I've been looking at rates, not Lake City, not Plainview. La Crescent, oddly enough, does do a non-resident rate. But Lake City, Plainview, it is one rate. And they have the MyRec software.
We didn't know that we had capability of doing it, and then Riley was talking to the program administrator, he was like, 2 minutes, he had it done. Basically took our city limits and.
Yeah, what we did note is that we are gonna start tracking usage, because if we do need to replace the pool someday, or if it comes up, those are questions we're gonna be asked, is how much of this is benefited. One thing is, we do have the free pool pass program that's sponsored by the WK program, so a lot of the student passes are coming through the free pool pass program, but the lessons are something that's paid for, by purchased, so.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of the non-resident fee being increased.
I don't know about this year though, without having numbers to see what's coming in non-resident and stuff like that. Though. I mean, if we got pools around us that are not charging it, we're just gonna drive them away.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
People aren't gonna drive to a different pool.
For, what's the difference in the fee?
I don't know, I think,
$1 more,
yeah,
$2 more,
I mean, I guess
Depends
that,
on, it can be whatever we.
I know what I mean, it's like, no one's gonna drive to Lake City for $1 more, spend more on gas.
I wanna say it was $6 or $8 or $10 more, but like I say, Riley's been digging into this, he provided all this information, I didn't have any time to dig into it myself,
So
so.
we're just supposed to give you direction to look at it, so.
Yeah.
I'd say let's
Well,
look at
and
it.
the season's coming up, so the registrations,
It doesn't have time to be like put on to the next council meeting and then out, and then you're gonna have to get your fees out.
yeah, if you want changes for this year. And we couldn't do this until we got the program purchased and got trained on it, and now we're into it, so it's something to consider.
So what's the difference between A and B?
Is
In
your
the
tax
rates.
built into the cost of
Do you wanna-
$125?
$3.
We figure what the tax is, or do we just say your purchase is $125?
$125, it's actually,
I don't really understand it either, cause that's your current rates right now, A.
A is if we lowered it, that taxes get added and it's more or less what was approved.
Okay, so then,
Did you mean for the numbers to actually be different from A and B, or you just mean for the tax to be different?
Does plus tax mean the tax is in the fee that's shown?
I didn't set it up correctly, so I'll just ask in a basic way. Last year, a family pass is $110. You guys already approved for it to go up to $125.
and that
If
would
we
have.
add tax on top of it, it's gone from 110 to 130, you know.
139.72 or.
139.72, so that's a pretty big jump. So then what we did was say, let's lower those rates from what you approved it, and then add on tax afterwards. But if we're just interested in continue to purge fees, which was a comment internally, then we would just keep it, and then, yeah, we're just gonna continue to push those fees. And I looked at it, and again, we remain competitive either way. So my big thing is, regardless of what we decide, we do wanna pay attention to supply and demand. If people aren't gonna buy it because it's, you know, but, yeah, so. I guess the question is, we'd like to charge taxes on afterwards. Do we want to lower the rates so the rates more or less stay to what you guys approved? Or keep the same and add it? And then I guess option B is keeping it exactly the same, which is flat rates and we're not adding tax on whatsoever.
Tax would be included in a flat rate.
And then we're doing, staff is then calculating that out of the software. The nice thing about the software is then it automatically tabulated this if you kept it out of the flat rate fee.
Sure.
Yeah,
So what is the rate that you approved already for this year?
it's B,
That's the B.
125,
B with no tax.
with no
added.
tax, yeah.
Okay, so you were saying leave it at the 125. And that would include the tax, or put it lower to 120 and then add the tax.
If you're gonna put tax on $125, 7% is gonna be,
It's almost $9.
you're gonna go, yeah,
Yeah.
you're going in the hole. Right?
No, I mean, the 120 would be plus the 7.37% sales tax is gonna be $8.85.
It's
So it's gonna be 100.
922 on tax on 125.
So it's almost $9.
But tax we pay to somebody else.
So it'd be $129.
So we're gonna raise it
I would-
by
I would
$5,
just
and
do
we're
it.
gonna pay $8 in tax to somebody else.
But we've been doing that all along.
You've
so-
always done
Yeah. But, yeah.
Okay, so if you approved the 125, you're including, that's saying you're gonna leave the tax out coming off of that?
No, B is 125 plus tax, so then the final amount that someone would pay would be 125 plus, you said,
$9.22
yeah, would be, yeah,
is
so
tax on
it'd be
top of that.
So it went from
124
110 to the customer
to
to
134.
134, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do A, it's a 120, almost 129.
Yeah, so it's,
So
We told them it was 125, we're going back to 120, but then they'll see tax.
Yeah.
Which will go up to 129, does that make sense?
that's really what it is.
So will they be handing out like four and change more than they thought if they looked at the rates?
they
For this
probably
year.
don't look at the rates. but-
If you're charging the 125, and that's including the tax, the city is making 116.42 of that. That's the part that's missing of all of this. So if you
Yeah, I
leave it at the
didn't-
125 with the tax in it, the city's making 116.42.
That was the
rest is
original
tax.
plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
$6.
$6 increase from last year.
Well, whatever the increase, yeah, $6 increase. Well, the tax on last year's rate too.
But on,
But wasn't the tax taken out of one?
Yeah, the tax was taken on the 110, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, if we publish the rates, did it say including tax on
They're not published yet, are they?
They were not promoted, I mean, they're.
Yeah, I mean-
We approved the fee schedule.
them?
but
Yeah,
I see.
so,
This would be an
the
amendment.
fee schedule included tax, but.
Well, according to this, family pass, 120 plus tax plus credit card fees. That's what the current,
Oh, no, I uploaded that with that change. Yeah, that's just you'll have to go back to January, but, yeah, that's the other thing, they're probably gonna be charged credit card fees now too. So, yeah.
Last year's passes at 110, the city made 102.45. This year's passes at 125 with the tax in it is 116.42. That's leaving the taxes alone.
I don't know why, it's like my parent brain is saying, why would we say you write a check for 139.54 or whatever, you know, it's, to me, it's simpler if if the fee that you see on your kid's promotional flyer that they bring home from school is what you actually pay.
Yeah, it just comes down to what the city's profit.
It's as much of an affordability thing as like, I understand what I'm being charged.
So then are we saying, let's just leave the 2026 rates as is, we won't add tax in the software and then staff will calculate it on the back end?
If the software does it for you and it makes it easier.
You can still add the tax in the software, which is what I think everybody's missing, and from the office, you just put in 116.42, and then you add the 7.375% tax, which gives it 125.
Sure.
I don't really care, whatever way is the easiest. I mean,
But I think
you're basically arguing.
Yeah.
I know.
So we are raising rates by doing that, but just keeping the way that we approved of. So we get a little more, but just not.
And in a straightforward, I mean, in a way that it's like, I
Right.
thought it was 125, now it says 139.
Your final bill's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
25.
Volleyball fees plus, $130.
Right.
You know, you don't
You
think
don't
about
get
that.
you don't get a surprise $10 addition to it, yeah.
And we can adjust it next year.
I move it, we keep it as.
I'm honestly thinking, Jessica, I think it would be confusing to do 116 and then people say, well, whatever, but, okay.
Just put taxes and fees apply.
Right.
Yeah.
It,
All right.
125 includes taxes and fees.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, however your software works and what makes it easiest for
Yeah,
staff.
I mean, we can set it up however.
Yeah.
And then with the resident and non-resident rate, what the action is, and I again, I feel like we're just, you know, but the idea was that the final approval by Parks is approving the final rates. But if you have guidance on how different those rates are, you know, $5, $10, $2, $0, but the
The Parks hasn't really discussed that yet.
No,
No, I think that's for them to think about and then
yeah,
we respond.
But they'll, we'll meet next week and then it won't come back. So
Yeah.
we just thought, you guys make the ultimate decision here.
I think it's something maybe you track for this year, if there's a possible way to do it.
Yeah.
Come back and say,
Here's what we learned.
30% of our business came from the prairie, okay, well, that makes us think differently about it.
so you're
Give
saying,
you an
John,
idea.
don't have new rates, but track it,
Track it for this
okay,
year.
all right.
Can I actually hear a motion on the fee part of it?
Yeah, I move it, approve it.
Jean, second. Any further discussion on that, please? We'll vote on that. Sorry, Jess.
Freeman,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Moyer,
Yes.
Moyer, yep, Duran,
Yes. Okay. And then our direction is just for Parks to evaluate what they learned from the relevancy data. Advise us on what they think for.
So in
Next year.
2027, they evaluate what we learned from this pool season,
They
or
can even evaluate it in this year and advise for the budget year.
And when we get the budget,
it's
yeah,
like starting in August,
pool
we're
season,
saying?
yeah,
Okay.
pool season will be over and then we can get it
Kind
fresh.
of know.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. And putting truth and taxation hearings for this end of this coming year. Between Wausau County and City of Wausau, looks like we would typically have an overlap, so there's we would entertain a motion to allow staff to schedule a future truth and taxation public hearing for Tuesday, December 1st, 2026, for a 7 p.m. start time. Which is part of the regularly scheduled city council meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
So basically, you'd run the meeting, no matter where you were at in the meeting, you would set it,
7 p.m. we run that
start the
meeting.
public hearing and go from there. Yep, that way it would give time for people if they had to go to the county to have theirs and then be here.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Anybody want to make that motion?
Move to approve.
Second. We go first from John, second from Brian. Any further discussion? We'll call for a roll vote.
Moyer,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Duran.
Yes. Okay, and now updates on the, Greenfield Township meeting. I was in attendance, John was there, Karen was there. Any
Yeah,
comments?
I just,
As well, very well attended. Yep.
Again,
I know that Kellogg and Greenfield have subsequent meetings in the coming months. It was a great meeting, well attended, well supported for support for the ambulance. Do we wanna invest staff time in attending meetings? Are we providing a deadline for response from Kellogg and Greenfield? I know they both have meetings coming up. I think I got feedback from the ambulance commission, we're not gonna do more postcards and encourage people to attend in March like we did last year. I think they got great information from Holly, who emphasized this, we are not alone in this situation.
and what we're asking isn't much,
Yeah,
comparatively speaking.
yeah. So, we kind of really need an answer budget time, but March is when they're gonna be making their decisions. I think what was confusing is one vote occurred in March, and then in August or September, in the middle of our budget season, we were informed of a different decision, so. Ryan, are you planning on attending their February meeting anyways?
Yeah, Greenfield asked me to come to their February meeting.
Yeah.
So I'll be
I
at their
probably will
February meeting.
attend in March, cause I would like to know what the discussion is, but we're not planning on requesting speaking time unless, we're directed to do so.
So in March, we're gonna find out about 2027.
Yeah,
But they need to tell us what they're gonna do this year.
They've already told us.
They said they're gonna fundraise.
Okay, I don't care, they can do whatever they want, as long as they pay.
Yeah, I guess we gotta
I
follow
hope
up
I
on
made it
that.
very clear that that's unnecessarily complex,
Yeah,
really unnecessarily complex, that was my comment, but.
It's
But
not
yeah, you're
sustainable,
right, we need to.
it's not a
know.
sustainable plan.
but I mean, if that's what gets them through the year, and then they budget it for 27, then so be it, you know?
Yeah.
And then
That sounds
when do
fine.
they gotta pay it, by the end of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can follow up with,
Sure.
where are you at for 2026 and when will
Did
you know
that
your
energy around
plans for
fundraising
2027?
materialize?
You don't have to bug them every month, but.
Yeah, okay.
When you were, for that meeting, send a reminder out, maybe I'll come with you.
The March one,
Yeah.
okay. And
Consistent faces.
I may also need to just provide moral support for Ryan
Yeah,
in February, but,
right.
we'll let y'all know when that's happening. And then Kellogg has a meeting Wednesday night, but I don't know, they
I
are.
mean, their
in
council was
impasse
very
as
well, they were there.
Yeah.
So if they heard the sentiments and that it wasn't there necessarily their citizens.
There's, I don't know, it seems to be a little more confusion with respect to how Kellogg believes they're funding the ambulance service already.
Right.
And I think maybe you've cleared that up a little bit, or how you.
Yeah, where they support a first responder program, so our year one, they said, could we have a discount for that, and we were just getting started, so we said, okay, as staff. But now we're saying, we really need you to be caught up right now with the full amount, so I think they're clear on that. But, yeah, again, some earlier action you all taken was that we were gonna set out another big mailing, and I think we ended up going with Facebook and these meetings, so I think the word is out. We just need to know they haven't made an official decision, and I guess I think if they don't hear from us, they may be content not to take it up, cause they're making some difficult choices. So I do hope to just stay in touch and ask for updates and keep this on the agenda. Because I don't wanna get to budget season and then, you know, we're wondering what to do.
Yeah.
So. Alright,
I don't think this is still a good long-term solution. I mean, it doesn't include capital costs. You know, I still think long-term, we need to do the taxing district. I don't wanna say that, but I think that's the only way to do this long-term. This is just too haphazard.
it's too reliant on what the will of the boards are.
Political wins is what it is.
And an actual appreciation of this situation, you know, the service, I mean, it was clear there wasn't understanding of the performance measures of the service, you know, a month ago even.
Yeah.
That, you know, that taxing district, did not seem to resonate with anybody in terms of desire to participate. That was what, you know, when we kind of kick these conversations off, I don't know if we need to become better educated to have that discussion further. But it was sort of like, you know.
Yeah,
I think this path felt like the only path forward at the onset of those discussions.
But it still puts a much bigger burden on the city of Wabasha, you know, we can't keep affording that.
We do retain control, obviously, of our employees and, you know, policies and all that kind of stuff, so there's that aspect of it, but.
Brian, do you think we could, between me and you, just do some additional research on the taxing district option, should that come up in the future? Like I said, I think it'd be helpful to talk to someone who's tried it. As far as I'm aware, there's just one, but.
yeah, I can't remember what Holly said. Did she say there was one instance of this?
I thought she said that.
But there's a huge number of townships contributing as what we've asked.
Okay.
So.
But are those townships, are they contributing just for operational costs or for the full thing?
Those things I couldn't answer.
Yeah, that kills us, you know, when you gotta buy a new ambulance every, 5-10 years for $500,000.
Yeah, it'd be ideal to have the taxing thing, I think.
Okay. Alright,
We'll keep you updated.
local option sales tax resolution, Jeff and John and I had a little conversation with Caroline about this, because as you know, we directed her to do some work to make sure that we had the opportunity to have this legislation sponsored, however.
Yep, and so Representative Altendorf has, and Senator Drazkowski requested a meeting, and they're coming to Wabasha on Friday at 3. So right now, Jeff is available, and we're looking for maybe a couple other people that could attend with us. We're gonna discuss our bonding request with them and this local option sales tax, but Representative Altendorf just says that she has a lot of hesitation about sponsoring legislation with the new tax on local businesses in Wabasha. With the paid family leave, our office is getting a lot of calls about businesses who are struggling right now. We're getting feedback that it's very unlikely that there's gonna be any loss of tax legislation passed this year. She's concerned about this tax putting people out of business and them doing business elsewhere. And then Senator Drazkowski said that he will not sponsor any new tax legislation, and he sits on the tax committee. And so they reached out to meet with you all or some representatives to discuss this. And then I'm just suggesting, we'll also talk about our bonding request. But maybe then whoever attends can come back to council and say, here's what we recommend. It's either, I guess the option is pull our legislation or continue to request that they sponsor it. It needs a House sponsorship and technically a Senate sponsorship as well. But I understand potentially we could just start out with not the House, but the House. So
I think,
it's,
sorry,
yeah,
I apologize. I think to be clear, the bonding request is quite separate from this local option sales tax. The bonding request is for the continuation or the final pieces of the Highway 60 reroute. The local option sales tax would be for the development of a new ambulance facility, maybe new city hall as well. It's a 0.5%. So I don't remember what the math is, but it's literally.
I was just going over sales tax, so we're at 7.34 and it would put it at 375, and it would put the city then up, and that includes like a 0.5% of the county, but most of that is to the state of Minnesota. It would push us up to 7.8 then.
So is there a visit for both items or just the ambulance?
They're gonna be in Red Wing, so they appealed to a meeting
And I understand it's mainly been Jeff, John, and Emily working on the bonding, so I'll be there and we can lead the bonding discussion. But then it would be helpful for us all to maybe communicate, I mean, it's really up to them. I don't know that we can do anything if they refuse to sponsor it, but I think it would just be discussing kind of, the council's position on it, so.
And I think it's important for council to scratch our heads and investigate whether we think that 0.05 additional sales tax is gonna put local businesses out of business. Vehicles are exempt, so that large purchase that somebody might, with a very large dollar value, consider that. But groceries are already exempt from sales tax. So it'd be convenience foods, it's
And we mentioned
lumber, I guess,
the
something to
building
drive.
supply store.
Building supplies.
Pam has urged us to reach out to businesses and get their feedback. I talked to Paul Bush Auto, he was concerned, and I shared that with Pam, that he was concerned about the tax, he wasn't in favor of it. But then we learned that auto sales are actually exempt, so
We were investigating.
Chris and I
exempt a category, and we
could
can't do that,
go
but vehicles are already exempt.
visit the building supply store. Will anybody be happy with, any amount of tax? I think that everyone's response is gonna be no, but the nuances of it are that it's still something we gotta figure out, and this allows us to capture non-city residents.
But I think we can all evaluate as decision makers, whether we think a local contractor is gonna go hightail it to another lumber yard based on a 0.05% increase in that tax. I mean, they highly value the relationships, the convenience, the location. I mean, it's partnership, at that level of purchasing.
And I think too, I mean, we have a very specific need and very limited ways for a city to generate the dollars it's gonna take to make that happen. So I mean, we can raise property taxes and that would be just like insanity, or we can look to, anybody that comes in our community and spends money here, and that's all the visitors all year round, help to contribute to that infrastructure. And I think too, I'm speaking very much for myself, but those who are having a conversation with our state representatives and state senator, as much as we ask them to sponsor the bonding, the real request is they need to vote on this bonding. They need to vote for our bonding. Our initial ask was over $12 million, and through the work of really those two right there, we're down to asking for like 1.7 or $2 million. We've gotten all the rest of the money. None of it is from property tax. None of it is from the city. We're asking the state to pitch in just that much money. So I mean, just to ask them to vote for it, I think is whoever's gonna be there that day.
Yeah, I think we wanna meet at the ambulance hall too, just
Yeah.
basically show what this is for.
So.
And we're across from the new roadway, so.
Well, and as far as the ambulance part, maybe you don't want me there, because I voted no on the sales tax, so. I mean, if you're looking for an advocate, I can't tell them I want it, but I said, no, that's fine, I'll show up, I just can't.
I think one of the things that we were discussing
Yeah.
before council is that it feels a little gatekeeper here because the citizens get to vote on this, so.
Right.
Pam politically maybe doesn't wanna stick her neck out and say, oh, I allowed to, put some support.
Sure.
But ultimately, it's local control at the very local level, which is individuals voting.
Yeah. I also don't think they're gonna change their minds, but that's fine. I'm happy to show up, just to show up and.
We'll let Jeff do the talking,
Yeah.
And the Highway 60 piece, I think the sort of the elevator speech, just to keep people's attention on this, is that, yeah, we've gotten all the money for the roadway, the significant roadway portion of it, which is the very, very expensive part. But this was never just a road realignment, so we really wanna make sure we make good on the redevelopment piece, because that's what makes this a real win-win. It's not just simply a road realignment, so.
Part of the federal appropriations was because of that
Yes,
vision.
exactly, and that's the community's expectation.
And actually our 10 grant is the same thing.
Dean, if it's at the ambulance hall, are you able to attend the meeting on Friday at 3?
I can try.
Okay.
I can try though.
Okay. Cause I think it would be helpful to get somebody to speak to the accessibility.
Quorum, thank you.
Quorum, we
Oh,
can't have it.
yeah. Yeah, we can have three.
We have three.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't have more than three.
Yeah, there's no more than three. Emily
I can't be there.
Okay.
can't be there.
And John can't.
Yeah, and John can't be there. Yep,
That's
good
all right.
point, thank you.
Looking for support.
Just to talk about the difficulty kind of, getting from to the grocery store to the west side and some of the pedestrian improvements that we'll have with the new highway realignment would be good.
People are very excited about that. That came up a lot. I didn't know, because we're very car oriented in rural America, but.
Yeah, unfortunately, if they don't sponsor it, I don't think the legislation can move forward, and we will probably have to wait till the elections go, but I think the idea is to kind of talk about and address their concerns and then go from there, so, all right, so Dean, Brian, Jeff, and then I will try to attend, and then at 2:00, Brian, we're meeting with, Mark from MnDOT and our engineer on the project. If you are able to attend a little earlier to talk more nuts and bolts about the project, great, but, if not, maybe, you can just be on the phone for that meeting.
Like I
2
said,
o'clock
I
is here.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the ambulance hall, I think
Oh,
that'll
we are
be
going to
easier.
ambulance hall.
Brian will just have to hear about things he doesn't care about, so, yeah,
2 o'clock ambulance hall, got it.
okay, I'll remind you,
Okay.
so. I guess any other comments or thoughts with where we're at with this, or things we should talk about? I think their big question was, will this put local businesses out of business by adding up 0.5% sales tax? And is there any interest in having, Chris do some outreach to impacted businesses to talk about it? I don't think that's a bad idea. But the only one that comes to mind for me is the building supply store. Other than that, it's Quick Trip, the Dollar Tree, the Eagle Center,
Restaurants.
Subway. Those are all corporately managed. So I think it's just hard to get in touch with the owners, so.
I think it's worth having, it's out there, people, we can hear from people about it too, so.
Okay. Alright. We need to appoint Board of Appeal and Equalization members for 2026. Last year it was John, Tim, and Jean. What's the date? Do we know?
Yeah, is it not on there? It is April, it's a Thursday, April 9th at 10 in the morning.
It's in April 9th.
It's my turn, so,
I need one from each ward.
yeah,
And thank you.
it's my turn, yeah.
Whatever, it doesn't. If you can't do it, let me know.
Okay, that's kind of how what we've been doing.
Yeah.
It's my turn, if you can't do it, let me know, so.
But no, it's gotta be one from each ward.
Yeah, we're third.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dean, can you do it?
Yes, I'll make sure.
Okay. If there's a problem, Dean, just let me know in advance, okay?
I'll put that on the calendar. And I gotta do the training.
If you don't have the training, I think you're past due, but you have to have one person
Oh,
that has the
really?
training.
God, no.
Oh, you stuck it. Yeah.
Who's the third?
Dean.
Does someone have the training?
Well, I've got Brian, Dean, and who? The Jeff or Jean.
Oh, wait a minute, just one person.
Just one person.
Have training, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're in.
Yeah, I'm fine, as long as you're trained.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I am trained, just expired.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Okay, now the state legislation request for the Highway 60 GO bond.
Yeah,
Kind of
so-
talk about that.
So just to reiterate is that we did increase our geo bond request, because we are getting in updated numbers on things, and it is really important that we get this geo bond request. One of the costs that have come up is on the high end, $1.7 million in cleanup costs over there that we did not build into our budget. So what that is that's the area of construction and assuming that everything and going as deep as all the garbage gets hauled out and taken and brought to Rosemont. So what we're in the middle of doing is having some more conversations. If basically you could still build the roadway, but not take away all the garbage, should we not get additional funding? And we're also gonna be strategizing with Mark and Tim on Thursday on what additional funds might be available to clean up that area. So that was just a much higher number than everyone anticipated. And so we're just strategizing, maybe you just haul out the way just for where the road is gonna go before, but not the entire area. For the city, with our ambitions to get that developed, getting as much of the garbage taken away as possible was advantageous to the future development. But again, if we don't get this GEO bond request, I think we're gonna just have to look at kicking out future development, because we won't really haven't accomplished our objectives in terms of getting that site cleaned up. But some of it is a little bit working with Braun Intertech to see if they talked about just like cleaning things, like using, I'm envisioning like a sieve, just, you know, not taking away all the dirt and everything, but maybe just the larger objects, etc. So that's some of the discussion we'll have on Friday, and I'm just asking for council participation because, again, it's kind of the story where we're going back to the legislature, we've done our work, we've done the phase 2, and we definitely need this request because we've had some costs in the cleanup of the area, so.
But to be, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, to be clear, this is not so much, contaminated soil, like soil remediation, like oil. It's more like rubble from construction, so it's not a good buildable surface. So we're not talking about contaminated oil leaks and things, we're talking about
There's a small area that.
up by the corner.
Yeah, like on the edge, I think, I have really, really copious notes about this, because it's been highly technical, and if I wasn't taking notes, I couldn't even track what was going on, I had to kind of read back, so if anybody wants to see those, I can share them. But I know there was one area where there was like arsenic, that could be like one single paint can.
Right.
And the predominant, and there's, yeah, like you said, sort of some structural stuff. And then, if you imagine the edge of the volleyball field being the water line at some point, because they showed historical images of that, I think it was such that people could just sort of roll trash into the water. And then that similarly occurs kind of not within the project scope, but or not within where the roadway is gonna be, but at the edge of the corner where the culvert is at Fourth Grant and Bridge. So just areas where people were able to just roll garbage into the water. And PFAS everywhere, and we assume, and this has been debated by everybody who has participated in the conversation, it's unlikely in our mind that the PFAS is coming from the site. It's that the water contains PFAS. We know the pool 4 contains PFAS, so that's washed through that site for hundreds of years, yeah. So that's like I said, I've taken screenshots of the images to kind of get my head around it, but it's spotty. But in order to say, oh, we think to remediate this, because they, of course, they board in certain places, they've created kind of areas of concern that they would wanna be strategic with, like is this gonna be the right of way, so we have to completely remediate it, because then that's not gonna take over any right of way with contaminant, so.
And Mark is in charge of that, he'll be influencing what standard it has to be cleaned up. And so we'll learn that on Friday, and preliminarily, we think they're willing to be flexible on it, so find out more. I don't need any advice on next steps. I feel like we're in a good learning spot, and I just want to keep council along with me, because these are big decisions we're making, so, yeah. And then I'll just, 2025 employee feedback.
Very nice, thank you for doing that. Thank you everyone for doing that.
We just do interviews at the end, and I just wanted to share some themes with everybody. So what's working for you, and this is again, thanks to council, is a lot of discussion on the flexible schedule that the city of Wabasha offers. And we allow the PW to do a 4-day week, and that has been greatly appreciated. And then the ambulance has a new schedule that they gave feedback that's working for them. Benefits and, you know, a lot of discussion on camaraderie within the department. seeing the public enjoy the work we've accomplished. And what energizes people is helping people in the community, whether that's helping a customer for water and sewer, or helping people and working with kids at the library. And there's a couple of folks that just really like work that involves those clear outcomes and resolving problems or documenting cases. That was from police. For 2026, the staff, what issues or challenges do you see from the ambulance staff? There's continues to be a concern about the lack of space and not enough room within the ambulance hall for night shifts, and needing living quarters separated from the training and public access and offices area. And then just a comment that better living quarters would boost morale. Some staff commented with a lot of the big projects we're talking about, barge terminal, highway, and in addition, potentially a brand new building coming on, just staff being workload balance, ensuring that there's not burnout. One staff felt like there wasn't enough ambulance call volume to feel as confident as they would like, so we've identified some training opportunities. The constant pressure of trying to keep taxes low while providing high quality services, so concern about the CIP funding. Public Works and ambulance are seeing some staff turnover this year, so staff provided they're worried about that. Police is always kind of looking at state statute changes. And then some people in the ambulance, when we did the request for cost sharing, they felt like there were a lot of disrespectful comments shared in the newspaper and online about the ambulance service, and they kind of took that personally. Absolutely nothing we can really do about that, but just to be mindful. I mean, the staff are reading those comments, so when we kind of publicly comment about budget and stuff, you know, people take that personally, being on the ambulance. And then just how can supervisors better support people? Discussion on just direct communication, feedback, consistent feedback, attending some conferences, some additional trainings have been identified, and making sure that we trust in department heads and not micromanage and let them do their job, and advocating for EMS in the community. And then just finally, some general feedback for council. One person observed that if department heads maybe threaten, complain, pressure, squeaky wheel kind of techniques, they tend to get resources, and just to make sure that there's a fair allocation of resources to all departments. Making sure equipment purchases and timing of those purchases are fairly evaluated. I.e., does someone need a brand new vehicle? Do they need the bells and whistles and the timing? So one thing I'd like to work on is we don't have enough in the CIP, and this is leading to this competition of resources amongst departments. So I would like to form a joint staff and council committee to take a look at each of these requests and ask everyone the same set of questions. Have you considered a used vehicle? Why are we not? Are you adding bells and whistles on this purchase? You know, and then also looking at the timing of the purchases, because I think the last thing we want to do is raise taxes by $500,000 to fund the CIP. But if we have to spread that out in increases, that's a choice that I want to make with council, not on my own. So I'll put that on the next agenda, because we've been kicking that down the road. And so what's happening is there's individual negotiations happening with me on the CIP request, and it just all goes in there, and we kind of need to take a look at all of it and dig into it. And just making sure wage increases are fair, and some staff are concerned if there's changes in elections, and just was reiterated that council's done a great job helping staff feel supported. And compliments to the department head meetings where we brainstorm together, and a continuation of employee get-togethers. So it's pretty comprehensive. I don't believe in anonymous surveys because those can get nasty, but all of these were delivered face-to-face to their department heads, and I think they were good. And I always learn a lot from talking to the department heads, and believe you me, they don't mince words. They're very honest with me. And it's good to get that feedback. So felt like I should share that, and And so that we can all kind of continue to keep these in mind if we make tough decisions, so.
Very, very.
That's
good.
it.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for that. And as I always say, people do not bring their best self to Facebook, so remind yourself of that when you get the nasty grams. They'll not be, I'm acting anonymous, except my name is attached to this mean tweet. All right, we have many donations this month, so I'll entertain a motion to accept these, to the library. $100 anonymous donation in memory of Bunny Woodley, $10 from Judith Nose in memory of Ernie Evers, $500 from Linda Tenney, $50 from Maggie Hubbard. To the ambulance service, $100 was given anonymously, and $100 was given by Charles and Violet Ann Gilbertson. To the fire department, $100 from Charles and Violet Ann Gilbertson, and to the Wabasha Athletic Complex, WMB's $25,000 contribution this month. Do we have a motion?
I move.
First from Tim, second from Jean. Any further discussion? Call a roll vote.
Freeman.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Woodard.
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Moyer.
Yes,
Correct, yes. All right, and then we have, a potential special meeting to approve an ambulance hire, that's fine, I think we'll just.
Yeah, our hiring guidelines are very specific that you guys have to approve a specific candidate. We don't wanna wait to hire this person, but the timing of it in allowing them to do ride-alongs and go through their background check means it might be next week, and as long as 4 of you can attend, I think we'll be okay.
Make it work, it's fine, yeah, just let us know.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move.
First from Tim,
Second.
second from Jean and Jeff at the same time, call for a roll vote.
Jensen.
Yes.
Moyer.
Yes.
Moyer.
yes.
Yes.
Woodley. So,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes. Appreciate everybody being here. And we'll see each other next week.